if you're using YouTube strategically and you're creating the right content, you could get a lead from YouTube with your very first video. You could get a sale from YouTube from your very first video.
Hello, 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 and welcome back to the First Hustle Then Brunch podcast. As you can tell from the title, today we're talking about YouTube. YouTube currently has over 2 billion users, which means close to half of the global online population are YouTube users. And 62% of US YouTube users access the site daily, which amounts to more than 122 million people. There are a ton of people talking about how to become a YouTuber. However, there aren't nearly as many people teaching business owners how to use YouTube to grow their businesses. So today, I'm speaking with YouTube strategist Trena Little. She helps online course creators and other digital entrepreneurs develop a YouTube strategy that allows them to scale their business by driving more traffic to their offers with the right videos. We're talking about videos that are selling for you and working 24/7 so that you don't have to. Her expertise has helped countless businesses establish a strong online presence and achieve unprecedented growth through the power of video. As someone who has dabbled in YouTube a little bit, I was really excited to have her on, and I just know that you all will learn so much from her. So let's go ahead and get started. Hey, Trena, welcome to the First Hustle Then Brunch podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to learning a lot about YouTube. I've dabbled in it a little bit, but there's definitely a lot that I can learn.
Yes, for sure. I'm ready.
Yeah, excited to have you. So before we get started, do you want to go ahead and tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I come from a background, I went to school for marketing and communications, and then I ended up working for the federal government after college. And an opportunity was being able to get my MBA. And while I was working there, I got pregnant with my first daughter and found YouTube. I
Oh,
was
wow.
one of the first of my friends to be pregnant, and I was like, "What the heck is happening to my body?" And I started
Oh,
following
yeah.
basically mommy vloggers on YouTube, and I was like, "Wow, this is interesting." Like my marketing brain hadn't been used for so long in the
Mm-hmm.
government, and I was seeing how these girls were basically building a brand on themselves, and I was willing to buy anything they told me they were buying because I felt like we were besties, even though
Yeah.
they had no idea who I was. And so then I just dove in to try to figure out how they were using YouTube. I assumed all of these brands were already using YouTube, and nobody was using YouTube.
Mm.
Uh, and so I just took it upon myself, self-taught YouTube, and it started kind of snowballing, showing business owners how to use YouTube in their business. It's such a great platform to build that relationship. A lot of people look at YouTube as a search engine, but it is a massive community builder. And we're just told that time and time again, where we see these YouTubers, quote unquote, build these brands and get deals with like Walmart. So I think,
Mm-hmm.
Ryan's Toy Channel and
Yeah.
Rosanna, I can't think of her last name, has like a whole cooking line, I think, with like Target. And it just goes to show how powerful YouTube can be in marketing if we
Mm-hmm.
use it the right way as business owners.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And when you started, did you dive right into that specific niche, helping business owners, or did you try anything else?
I started as a mommy vlogger.
Okay.
I was like, I'm gonna do brand deals. I'm gonna get like free Disney trips. Like that's the route I'm
Oh,
going.
that would
And
be
then
nice. Yeah.
I tried to vlog in Target, and I was like, this isn't my jam. This is not how this is going to work. In fact,
Yeah.
when I record my content, it took a long time. The first couple of years, like my husband couldn't even be in the house. It's like, you gotta
Mm-hmm.
go. I'm recording my videos. I need quiet, and I don't want you to
Yeah.
hear me. Uh, but thanks to the
I feel that.
pandemic, the kids sit here in the room with me. My husband is here, so it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, everybody's gotten used to it.
Yes.
I'm the same way. One of my friends, I was watching her Instagram story earlier today, and she said she feels like she has phone voice whenever she gets on like Instagram, does a
Yep.
story. And that's basically how it is. It's like, okay, and I'm on, you
YouTube
know?
face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, it does feel like that sometimes. Cool. So I've watched several of your YouTube videos, and I know there's one where you talk about using Instagram versus YouTube. So, what are your thoughts there? Can you discuss the difference between the platforms and why you would recommend, doing more on YouTube?
Yeah. So the reason why I love YouTube is because that content lives for so long. I have a specific video that, I mean, every time I check my analytics in my channel, which is part of my routine, is from 2019. And that
Mm.
video not only is getting, 200 plus views every single month to this day, it still builds my email list to this day. And I know there is no Instagram post from 2019 that is building my email list to this day.
Yeah.
YouTube is also what I call pull content. And so your audience is actively searching for your content on YouTube. So they're going to be more willing to lean in and listen and active and engage with your content. Whereas Instagram is noisy. We're just pushing content on people. And so
Mm.
I think it's really important to have a YouTube strategy for that, but also for long form content because long form content just does such a great job of building relationships with people, building trust and loyalty. And again, YouTube just kind of has that all built in a nice little package. I think
Hmm.
Instagram is great. And I use Instagram, but I use Instagram more as a community builder, almost not a builder, a nurturer, where I can share more of my personal side, where people can get my authority on YouTube, but then they get a sense of who I am as a human to decide if that's the person they want to work with.
Mm.
So I do think they go hand in hand, but I think YouTube is the place that is going to help you get more leads and sales. I will say, when we look at our Google Analytics dashboard, even if we have the same amount of traffic to our sales page from YouTube versus Instagram, our conversion rates are always higher from our leads from YouTube.
Wow. Yeah, that was one of the reasons why I reach out to you because I don't know many people that are sharing this information about YouTube and how, it is so helpful at driving sales for your courses and services and that sort of thing. So, yeah, what are some common misconceptions that business owners have when it comes to YouTube that you've heard?
Yeah, so I think a lot of business owners look at YouTube and tracking success based on what the YouTube educators are telling us. But most of those YouTube
Mm.
educators are helping influencers or people who want to be YouTubers build a channel. And those are totally different metrics that you need to be looking at, different kind of content that you need to be looking at than as a business owner. Because as a business owner, we have our own business model. And if we can just narrow our content in to get in front of the right people that are ready for our course, are ready to work with us, it's not about the amount of views and subscribers. It's about attracting the right people. And so I think a lot of
Hmm.
misconceptions are that, oh, I got to start a YouTube channel. It's going to take me forever to see any kind of results because I need 10,000 subscribers. I don't know. But in
Yeah.
reality, if you're using YouTube strategically and you're creating the right content, you could get a lead from YouTube with your very first video. You could get a sale from
Mm.
YouTube from your very first video. And so that's one of the biggest things that I've really kind of come out over the past couple of months. I mean, I've talked about it for a long time, and it's taken a long time for people to kind of hear it, but it has picked up more recently. And it's just trying to get across as a business owner, your strategy and your metrics that you're tracking the success of your strategy are totally different than what most YouTube educators are telling you and how to grow a YouTube channel.
Mm, okay. Yeah, that's a big difference that we're definitely going to have to dive into a little bit more.
Yeah.
So, yeah, before we go there, can you share like an overview of the overall process of, you know, creating a video for YouTube from start to finish at a high
Yeah.
level?
Yeah, so today was a batch day for me, so that's why you're getting me in makeup and lipstick because that's not a normal day for me. And so there's a process that we go through in our business, in the Trena Little business, called keyword harvesting, and it's kind of one of the first things we do when we build strategies for our clients or work with our clients to build a strategy, and then that helps us map out a content based on figuring out what your ideal viewer is looking for, what they're searching for. And so by going through this process, it's a lengthy process, but you only have to do it really once in the lifetime of
Mm.
your channel, maybe a second time if you want to tweak it or pivot your channel a little bit. And so it's basically the first step is coming up with the right video ideas for your audience. From there, I say it's always important when you have a content idea to come up with your titles first.
Mm.
Titles will make or break your YouTube videos. It doesn't matter how professional they are, how great edited they are. If the title and the thumbnail don't get people to click, no one's going to see it. And if people aren't clicking on it, YouTube's going to bury it. And so people will
Mm.
never even see it. So I always start planning my content out with the title first and then figuring out the thumbnail concept as well. And I just do this by going on YouTube and getting inspiration from other thumbnails that are attracting my attention and how I can do it for that particular video. From there, I script out my video, but I don't script it word for word. I think scripting word for word and trying to read from a teleprompter, that's it. I feel like that takes away your energy and your personality. And so I think it's really important to just do a video game plan, is what I call it, and kind of
Mm.
map out the direction of the videos, making sure you're including key parts of the video, like a hook. Your video must open with a strong, solid hook because you have 3 to 5 seconds to keep people's attention, really giving them super valuable information, and then having a strong call to action at the end of the video as well. In fact, I see a lot of people make a mistake. I go, like, subscribe, and comment. That's not going to get anybody to do anything because it gives them no reason to. And like, which one do you want me to do? I'm not going to do all
Right.
of those. And so, one way we teach our clients is once you kind of write your video game plan, going back into your video and about halfway through, figuring out how you can seamlessly talk or pitch about your offer that you have or your opt in so that it's weaved in there organically and you don't feel so salesy. And that's your primary call to action. Then at the end of the video, your secondary call to action is going to be to get them to watch another video. Because if we're
Okay.
going to be on YouTube, we want to make our business happy, but we also want to make YouTube algorithm happy so it does the hard work for us. And
Mhm.
also the marketing rule of seven, right? It takes people about 7 touch points before they want to, learn more or buy from us. So by getting people to binge content of yours, it's going to increase your likelihood that they will want to work with you. So planning out that call to action to what video they should watch next. From there, I will batch all of my scripting on a Tuesday. And then on a Wednesday, I will shoot. My week is a little adjusted since we're recording this the week of July 4th. But
Yeah.
then typically on a Wednesday is when I will shoot my videos. At the moment, I like batching 2 to 3 videos. It allows me to have enough energy to show up in the videos and not get so run down. I have recorded up to 15 in one day.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's a lot.
But 2 to 3 is great for me. And then I just cycle through that routine every other week. And so every other
Mhm.
week, I'm planning, scripting content, recording content so I can stay consistent and try to stay ahead of schedule with my video editor. And that's kind of my process for doing my content.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot that we can go into because I have questions about everything. Okay, first, I know you said titles and all of that is important, but I'm wondering, is there a specific video format or style that tends to perform better for businesses on YouTube?
I think talking heads are great. I don't think you need to overcomplicate it. Like I said, I hate vlogging. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I do occasionally, maybe like once or twice a year, a vlog on my YouTube channel as a community piece of content, so people can see, what my life looks like without me sitting
Mm-hmm.
here in my desk.
Yeah.
But just sharing valuable content and building your authority and letting people see that you know what you know.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering if you have to stick to all educational content when your goal is to get sales for your business, or if you can mix in some of that lifestyle content in there as well.
Yeah, so when you're building a YouTube strategy, it's really important to have 2 types of content.
Mm.
Discoverable content, which is basically that content that's going to cast a net out to drive people to you. And this is the type of content that's tutorials, how to's. They're going to show up in search while people have a problem and you're going to solve it for them. And the problem with going 100% in with how to's and tutorials, you're going to just attract people that take the answer and leave. And so you're going to have a big channel, not a big channel, but your channel's traffic is going to come from non-subscribers and people that don't care about you. And so the
Okay.
other piece of your YouTube strategy are those community style videos where you let people know a little bit more about you. These are the hardest one for me to do because like I said, I like to just share the content. But like
Yeah.
lessons learned, mistakes you've made, vlogs. I did a whole series at the end of last year when the whole Taylor Swift Eras tour came out, and I did
Yeah.
my business Eras journey, and it was 5 videos of my first 5 years in business. And so now we use that as a key piece of content on my channel that we direct people to get to know more about me. And that's how you develop relationships on YouTube, and that's how you're going to also get people to want to work with you instead of just like how to. They need to
Yeah.
have a reason to connect with you as well.
Yeah, I think I struggled for a couple of reasons. One, so I have a YouTube channel. You don't want to go look at it. I I've tried. But I feel like a big issue for me, I did try scripting and
Mhm.
using the whole teleprompter for a couple of the videos, and they really did not feel authentic at all. Like it did not feel like me. I felt like a news reporter. It just, yeah, I did not like it. And then on top of that, so I'm in the personal finance niche, and I feel like it was hard for me to mix in some lifestyle content or as well. I wasn't sure if I could, if that would be like too confusing for anyone that's coming to my YouTube channel. Like they're going there to learn, but also I just want to talk about other things sometimes. So yeah, I'm kind of trying to figure that out.
As long as it ties back to that audience that will be watching you. And so you really want to think about your channel. Who is this for? So, for example, my channel is for online course creators and coaches who want to use YouTube to generate more traffic to their offers, make more sales, get more leads. But that audience also knows I'm a mom. And I mean, I'm not going to create a video on how to organize my toy room, but I'm going to share like how I balance summertime being a mom with my business. And so I can share a little bit more lifestyle there.
Mm,
Um, they're also going to be interested in software and tools that I use, how I plan out my calendar, how I copyright launch. And so it does open up some different pieces of content or niches, but it all ties back into that particular person you built that channel for, because that's what trains the algorithm to find more of those people.
yeah, yeah, that makes sense. And
Mhm.
along those lines too, how can people figure out what to even create videos about when they first get started?
Yeah, truly understanding who your content is for. And so, really, what pain points are they having? What struggles are they having? What are the challenges that they're having? And create videos that solve that problem, because you want to think about how is your audience searching to solve their problem on YouTube. And you can go into the YouTube search bar and start typing out something, and it's going to populate what people are actually typing into YouTube. And so I think it's just really important to understand your target audience, really, what are they struggling with? Get inside their brain and create content to solve that problem so that once your target audience starts finding you in search and they start watching, YouTube's going to be able to better understand the type of person that is going to watch your content. And so it's going to collect data point basically on people who are watching your content to find more people with similar viewer behavior and serve your content to them.
Mm, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then would you say that your goal should be to create viral content?
No.
I don't know if there's really a difference. Yeah, it seems like probably not if you want them to stick around.
Yeah, so I mean, what viral content does is can kind of confuse the algorithm.
Mm,
And so, what happened? So, I have an example of a viral video that I had, and I knew when I did it, it would probably go viral, and I had it in my head. It's a real mind warp on YouTube
mm-hmm.
as a business owner versus a content creator, because you think you need to go viral and you think you need more views, but then there's this constant other shoulder that's your business side that says, no, you just need the right people to watch it. And so I
Yeah.
did this one video just to go viral. And what it did is it totally messed up my algorithm.
Mm.
And I started attracting people who want to grow a YouTube channel to be a YouTuber.
Oh, yeah.
Those people were not going to buy my coaching program, not going to buy my
Mm-hmm.
course because they had no plan to start a business. They just wanted to be a popular YouTuber. And so I've been working for the past 9 to 10 months to get the algorithm to adjust itself
Oh,
back
wow.
to business owners. And so, yeah, you want to be very cautious of going viral because not all people are the right people for you. If you can track the traffic you're getting to your offers from YouTube, that will give you a better sense of security almost because you're not going to get massive views or subscribers. But if you see sales increasing, you see traffic increasing because of YouTube, that can kind of help you feel better about focusing on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I kind of had that idea, because sometimes even on TikTok, for example, if you go viral for something that's completely not within your niche, you've
Mhm.
attracted all these people that can't relate at all and aren't going to become your customer. So, yeah.
I talked to a friend of mine who he was helping a friend of his. Now we're getting like far out, but they had like this massive TikTok following, but the audience was so scattered that when they released an online course, they couldn't even get like 10 sales because
Mm,
the audience wasn't the right audience. So you had this, 100,000 followers on TikTok, but none of it was the audience that was going to buy from him. So it's a
yeah.
cautionary tale of going
Mm-hmm.
viral.
Yeah. Yeah. I know you mentioned, embedding your call to actions within the videos. Do you have any other tips for helping turn your views into sales?
Yeah, doing that, you in your description box, I have like defaults that every time I upload my video, the same thing goes into the description box. In addition to, we add specific things for every single video, but letting people know where they can learn more about you or adding your lead magnet or your webinar. You also have, your channel homepage where you can feature a link up top as well. So those are all great places. I've also done, specific sales videos for my YouTube channel where I've shared behind the scenes of my course and
Mm.
walk through all the different elements of my course and why they're important and what they're going to get out of it. So I've also done sales videos on my channel as well.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I haven't thought about doing that. I have a course too. So that
Yeah.
might be, yeah, another good idea.
Hmm.
So I know with YouTubers, specifically creators, there's a lot of competition, I guess, within niches sometimes. So, figuring out a way to stand out is really important.
Hmm.
Do you find that that's the case for business owners on YouTube? Like, I don't even know. Do you feel like there is a lot of competition?
Yeah. I mean, you really want to think about who you're talking to and what makes you unique. And so there are a lot of YouTube educators on YouTube talking about YouTube. There are also YouTube educators on YouTube talking about how to use YouTube as a business owner. But my specialty, which makes me stand out, is I'm a female. And I'm also a mom. And so I get the struggles that female business owners have. First of all, feeling confident on camera, showing up on
Mm-hmm.
camera, dealing with having to do hair and makeup just to show up where a dude can roll out
Yeah.
of bed and shoot a video.
Mm-hmm.
But I also understand, balancing being a mom because most of the time as the mom, you're the person taking them to school, taking them to doctor's appointments. If they're off of school, you have to balance all of that. And so that gives me that unique experience that makes me stand out. And so I don't think it's necessarily, figuring out how to be different, but sharing, your unique perspective to your niche and what makes you different because
Mm-hmm.
everybody is going to be drawn to somebody whether they like them or not, and not everybody has to like us, but we need for people to see why we're different and unique from everybody else.
Yeah. And do you feel like you have a separate community on YouTube compared to your Instagram, for example? Or do those kind of, match up a little bit?
I feel like they match up pretty well because I started on YouTube and I do YouTube every single week, and there's a lot of cross promoting my YouTube content over on Instagram. A lot of the
Hmm.
content that I create on Instagram aligns with the YouTube content that goes out that week. Same thing with my newsletter. So I do feel like it's a close audience, whereas I do a little bit of TikTok, and that's a completely different
Yeah.
audience.
You really never know what you're going to get with TikTok.
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
it, but yeah.
yeah.
So I know you just mentioned, women, we feel like we have to get all dolled up before we get on camera. What tips do you have for people who, one, either aren't comfortable on camera, but they've never done this before? Do you
Mhm,
have any tips that could help them, kind of get over that
mhm.
fear potentially of, being in front of people?
Yeah, I can't come and force you to turn the camera on, but I
Hmm.
will tell you that it won't get easier. You won't build that confidence if you don't do it. So you have to just show up and force, if you really want to be on YouTube and utilize YouTube as a lead generator, you have to just force yourself to hit record. I'm going to tell you, probably your first videos, you're going to feel like they suck. You're going to pick apart everything that you do. I still don't feel like my videos are perfect in my mind, but we are our own worst critic. And it was 2 weeks ago. They sent me my video. My team sent me my video and said, okay, it's ready to go up on YouTube. And I was watching it and I was like, oh, I have lipstick on my teeth. And
Oh
I
no.
had one of my team members reviewed that video twice because we had some edits, and then she watched it a second time and she didn't
Hmm.
even notice it. And so that's
Yeah.
another example of how we are so wrapped up on criticizing ourselves so much that a lot of people are not looking at the things that we're looking at.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, they're probably listening for the actual content and then we're just staring at ourselves.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, the best way to get better at it, and I mean, this is the same way with me. When I watch my first couple of videos, I'm like, whoa, tone it back. Like, I thought I needed to be like big and like extra, and I'm like,
Hmm.
ah. But you learn it. You're gonna have to watch yourself back. It's going to be cringy. It's still cringy for me, but that's the only way you're gonna get better and you're gonna feel better on video.
Hmm. Yeah, it is super awkward, you know, recording and just staring into a camera lens,
Yeah,
especially like if you're not using your phone to record. Yeah. Compared
yeah,
to like filming a TikTok, at least you could kind of see if you have it on the selfie mode, you can see yourself, which is weird, but still not as bad as just like staring at this camera lens. So it does take
yeah.
some getting used to.
Yeah, or you could get, I have my cameras right here, but I have like the flip out lens. And so it's super easy for me to see if
Mm,
I am in centered. Yeah. You also don't want to be looking at the lens either. You want to be looking at, you don't, you want to be looking into the camera so it feels like you're speaking to them.
mm-hmm. Yeah. So I know you just pulled out your camera. Do you want to share like what equipment you use, what you recommend for people to have? Because I feel like, especially if you're doing this for business, you feel like you need to have everything like figured out. I need the lights and the fancy camera and the sound equipment, like everything right now.
Yeah. Keep it super simple because you're already going to be battling with your confidence as it is. And so you're going to
Mm-hmm.
find ways to procrastinate and not do. And so making it super simple, obviously, thanks to TikTok and Instagram, right? Our phones are a great place to start. Obviously, we're not going to do vertical, we're going to do it horizontal. Most phones are great enough to do your YouTube videos on your phone. I use the one that I showed you is it's a point and shoot camera. It's called the Sony ZV-1, and then I just put it on the same tripod that my webcam is on right now, and that is my setup. I have a ring light in front of me that I use, in podcasts, on Zooms. It's just a ring light that basically sits there that again I'll use for my YouTube videos. And then I have a window to the one side of me here, and so I do need another light on the other side to balance that light. So I have a softbox light, and that's as fancy as I get because if I overcomplicate it and it takes me too long to set things up, I won't do it. I
Mm,
spent last at the beginning of last year. I bought one of the fancy YouTube cameras. It's I don't know. It's back on my desk back there, and it was probably close to $1,000 after all said and done with the lens and the camera, and it
Mhm.
drove me bonkers. I could never get it focused right. I hated setting it up. I hated trying to figure it out. And the point and shoot camera for me, it just makes it incredibly easy to just do content.
Yeah, I actually have that same camera.
Yeah.
I got a year or two ago. Yeah, I love it. It's so easy to use in the mode. You just hit that little
Yep.
record button, so easy. And
Keep
then
it
I like how it
simple.
has that bokeh option where it'll blur the background for
Yep.
you. It's just like they really made it for video creators. I feel like that camera specifically. So yeah, it's super nice.
And I think that's all you really need to get started. Don't overthink it.
Mhm. Yeah, and you film all your videos pretty much in that same position and spot.
Yeah, I mean, I will pick up my tripod and just move it to an angle. I'm literally
Mhm.
just like moving my chair to the left or to the right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have small kids and I don't want to. It's
Mhm.
bad enough that I have to clean my desk off and put all the junk on my desk on the floor. I don't want to run through my house to have to clean it up.
Yeah.
When I'm feeling ambitious and I want to get creative, I will try different spots. So I have shot like in my kitchen and outside and tried to do,
Mhm.
more advanced, but I know I can sit down here and shoot a really good YouTube video and bang it out in 40 minutes if I just sit here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
a lot easier. I was
Yeah.
thinking about doing the same thing because I'm like, maybe I should try to mix it up, go around the house, have different camera angles and different scenes, but that's also just a lot. And then it also keeps me from actually filming. So,
Another easy way to do it is if you do, like your A roll, which is your talking head to the camera, and then you run around and you get B roll to show it over top of your A roll. And one thing that we encourage our clients to do when we're working with them and that I've done is collected B-roll, a B-roll library. So like
mm,
one day I just took my camera and my tripod around different places in the house. And so one was like in my bedroom where I'm like reading in bed, or I'm listening to a podcast in bed, or I'm writing in a notebook. And then I did the same stuff down on the couch. And then I did the same stuff in my office. And then I shot B-roll, of me typing overhead, behind, to the side, to the front, and just collecting a bunch of B-roll and using that multiple times. Like we've been using that B-roll for over a year now, and it's the same
mm.
clips that I did all in one day, but it just gives your video that extra to it without extra work for you other than that one day or so.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Have you found, and you may not know if there's really a difference here, but using stock videos versus like your own B-roll, have you found a difference in performance?
No, we use both.
Okay.
I think my video
Yeah.
editor is getting tired of using mine because it's like a year old
The same
now, and I
ones.
feel like
Yeah.
she's been pushing me to do newer ones, and I'm like, I don't
Mhm.
have time. But yeah, we use stock and we use my own, and yeah,
Yeah, it works. I see both on YouTube videos all the time. So
yeah,
I figure there probably wasn't a huge difference since
yeah.
a lot of people are doing that. Yeah. So you just mentioned that you have a video editor. What tools do you recommend for editing your videos if you've used tools before you brought in your editor?
Yeah, I mean, the first 4 years in my business, I edited, and I was even editing my clients' videos when I started my agency. And I started on iMovie because I had Mac products. And then I did graduate to Final Cut Pro. It's like $300. But what's great
Mm-hmm.
about Final Cut Pro compared to like Adobe, it's a subscription, whereas Final Cut Pro, you pay $300 and you have it for good. And Final Cut Pro is basically iMovie without training wheels. So it's a little bit more advanced, but I think
Mm-hmm.
most people can get by with iMovie and edit their own content. But Adobe Premiere Pro, I tried to play around with that. And I was even part of Adobe Creator Camp once where they were trying to teach us Premiere Pro. And it
Oh,
still was just like, I'm like, I'm comfortable over here. Sorry, you're not going to convince me. So just finding something simple. I think a lot of people in my community use like Sony Vegas is one that people use. Uh,
okay.
but video editing drives me bonkers. So I just use what I know. And I know
Mm-hmm.
iMovie and I know Final Cut Pro.
Yeah, I've used iMovie and I was actually thinking about going ahead and trying Final Cut Pro just because I actually really like editing. So I would probably find that fun and just being able to apply the effects myself and
Yeah.
figuring out. I've used an editor too for some of my videos And it's great, but I think when you're still trying to figure out your own style,
Mhm.
it's better to kind of figure that out before you outsource it to somebody else and then they try to figure it out and you're like, I don't know if I like that. And I can't really explain why.
Yeah, what's
So, yeah.
helpful for us, one thing that we do when we worked with our agency clients was like, please go on YouTube and watch some videos and look at editing styles and tell us what you like about certain videos so that our video
Mm,
editor can get a sense of what you like. Do you like fast cuts or slow cuts or just like if we have an idea to for a starting point of what style of
mm-hmm.
editing you like, it helps us kind of get to that end result faster.
Yeah, yeah, that's a really good idea.
Mhm.
And do you have any recommendations for where people can find editors?
Mm, if I knew, because that's one of the biggest slowdowns in our agency is finding editors.
Mm,
Um, I there was an editing service called Video Husky at one point in time. I think they still exist, but the problem that I had is I think they were based out of the Philippines, and if I was late
mm,
in creating content, it was like a day behind because they would do the video and send it to me. By then, it was the end of my day, and by the time I watched
yeah,
it the next day, um,
yeah, I've done that before.
I've also just
It worked out well for a little bit just because, I could give the edits and then go to bed and I wake up and then have the new version to review. But then, yeah, you do have all day long. You got to wait till they wake up. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I get that.
I honestly went on Instagram to find the 2 editors that we work with in our agency, and I just typed in, like, video editor. I looked
Mm.
at their portfolios, their videos, and yeah, that's what I used, Instagram.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, these days you can probably
Yeah.
find Instagram, TikTok, like,
Yeah.
yeah. I know I've been on Upwork and Fiverr too,
Mhm.
and people leave reviews there too, so that might be helpful. I know you mentioned that you have posted a video weekly, I believe, for the past several years.
Mhm.
So, what role does consistency play in being successful on YouTube, and how can businesses maintain that regular posting schedule?
Yeah, I think it's important to be consistent because, like I said, again, you're going to get better on video the more you do it. I even noticed, like, when I was batching really far out, I did a batch the last time I had my last kid, which he's 6 now, so that's been a while. And like I didn't shoot videos for 2 or 3 months after that, and I could tell how rusty I was, and it took me a
Mm,
lot longer to get through my content. And so it just keeps your muscle engaged. And so I think that's really important. And then as far as just showing up every single week, it's for your audience. If they're going to subscribe to you, you need to be committed to showing up for them and giving them content. Obviously, you're building out a content library too. So each week you put a new video up. It's what we call compounding views. So every
mm,
time you put a new video up, that video is going to get views, but that's also going to attract viewers to older videos. And so not only are you going to get views on the video you published, but it's also going to drive views to older videos as well. And I also encourage you to think what is success on YouTube because if you're chasing like a silver play button, will
mm-hmm.
that silver play button equal revenue in your business because I've
Right.
worked with people with silver play buttons and hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And me with a small channel of like 50,000 subscribers, I was still making more money than them overall because I had a business model and I wasn't trying to track the masses. I was trying to drive the right people to my content that would want to work
Mm-hmm.
with me or buy from me.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my next questions was, does subscriber count really matter? Which you've kind of just answered that one. And then what metrics are most important for evaluating your success as a business owner on YouTube versus as a creator?
Yeah, I like I said, I think it's important. Google Analytics, you can set up and see what kind of traffic is coming from YouTube and what kind of traffic is converting from YouTube. I think that's important. You could also create, whatever funnel that you have, duplicate it and just use that link on YouTube so that you know that is the only traffic coming to that particular funnel from YouTube if you don't have Google Analytics set up. And there are certain metrics on YouTube that you need to be looking at that typical YouTube creators would be looking at, but you want to be looking at like I said, click through rate, how well your title and your thumbnail are getting people to click on, and then your audience retention. So if people aren't watching your video, YouTube's not going to push it, because if they leave after the first 15, 20 seconds, YouTube's not going to make any money on it. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's going to push other videos that people are actually watching. And so click through rate and audience retention are really important to be looking at least monthly as a creator on YouTube, as a business owner, because you still have to make YouTube happy for them to push your
Right.
videos.
Yeah. So, what are some of the best ways to increase your watch time since that's so important?
Studying your audience retention graph. So getting content out and looking at, okay, when are people leaving? Why are people leaving? Am I putting fluff content in here? Can I show more of what I'm talking about instead of just telling? And that was a big lesson
Mm,
for me a few years ago, is if I could show examples of what I was talking about, people watched longer. And so just looking at your audience retention and seeing, where people are leaving, why maybe they are leaving, and then try to improve that in the next video and see if that increased your video watch time or your audience
mm-hmm.
retention.
Right. Yeah. Along those lines, too, it seems like, the length of the video should be just as long as it needs to be for, conveying whatever you're trying to teach and not blabbering on or trying to hit like some arbitrary 15-minute, 30-minute mark or whatever just to
Yeah.
hit it.
There is no golden number.
Mm.
A lot of people were like, well, it has to be 10 minutes, and there's no 10-minute golden number. Yeah, it's as long as it needs to be to deliver on that title. That's why I think it's so important for you to know that title, because you have to ensure you deliver on it. More
Mm.
recently, the past couple of months, we've been doing longer videos. So some of our videos are sometimes 20 to 30 minutes long, and people are watching that. I think I just did a dive. I was sharing my screen for a video I filmed today. And one of my videos, people were watching over 7 minutes of that
Mm.
particular video. And it just has to be valuable. It just has to be however long it needs to be to deliver on the promise you put in that title.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense for sure.
Yeah.
And then along those lines with the title and how important it is, I know there's tools such as vidIQ and I think TubeBuddy. Do you use those tools in your business? And is that what you use to help you write better titles?
I use them to come up with the topic. And
Mm.
then YouTube is so smart that no matter what you upload, YouTube knows what you're saying, so it knows what your content is about. You wouldn't even have to put a keyword in the title for YouTube
Oh,
to
I didn't
know
know
what
that.
it's about. You just want to think about your titles as headlines and what's going to pique curiosity and make people say, I need to figure out what this video is about. I need to hear what this video is about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then the same thing with the thumbnail too. I know I've
Yeah,
heard like,
and with
don't
the
repeat your title in the thumbnail.
Yes. Yes. Do not repeat your title in your thumbnail. You're taking up valuable real estate. Your title and your thumbnail should work together to tell a story. Your thumbnail should only have maybe 3 to 5 words max on it. I think it's important to also have yourself on the thumbnail. Um, Studies have shown that people are more likely to click on a thumbnail with a human face, that they can see the whites of
Mm-hmm.
your eyes. It's more trustworthy. But I do use vidIQ sometimes to come up with title alternatives. So I will come up with a title, and then they have like an AI title generator now that just gives me some more ideas. Or I will take, it recommends 5 at a time, maybe. I may take a piece of one and a piece of another to come up with a title idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. I know there's now AI is taking over. So I think I've seen their AI title generator, and then I also was watching a YouTube video where someone like allowed an AI to create the entire video. So there's like the faceless videos now where there's an AI doing the voiceover and everything, and it's just so creepy and
Yeah.
weird.
I think if you're going to have one-on-one services or you're going to have a course, people have to connect with you. So you have to
Mm-hmm.
show up. It's kind of counterintuitive to do an AI
Yeah.
generated content. Those do really well for people who want to make a lot of money on AdSense and not have that business model, but you can't control AdSense revenue either. You could make a lot of money in one month and then AdSense not be popping the next month and not make as much money. Whereas in your
Mm-hmm.
business, it helps you get consistent revenue in your business.
Right. Yeah. So the whole idea of monetizing on YouTube for businesses would be less about ad revenue from
Mhm.
AdSense and more about driving traffic to your own offers.
Yeah, it's an additional stream of revenue, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a lot. I mean, I have a client that makes around $5,000 to $6,000 a month. She has over 150,000 subscribers. But for me, I make a couple $100 a month. My goal is just to make enough on YouTube AdSense to pay for my video editor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, that's a good goal.
Yeah.
Awesome. This has been very helpful. You've covered a ton of my questions. Is there anything else that people should know about using YouTube for their business?
Yeah, just do it. I'm gonna tell you, you won't regret it. There are so many benefits. Not only do you have this long form content, but if you're looking to be a speaker or book engagements or have podcasts reach out to you or summits reach out to you, being on YouTube gives you a leg up on the competition because they get to see your style, they get to see your personality, they get to see your expertise, and they're going to be more likely to lean into choosing you over people that they haven't seen content from. And it can
Mm-hmm.
be a lot of work, but there are ways to streamline it and there are ways to make it possible for you to do because you don't want to keep dancing on TikTok. So,
Oh my gosh. I used to do that and it was a lot of fun for like 5 minutes. And now I'm just like, oh no.
yeah. And then YouTube,
Yeah,
I
I'm done with
mean,
that.
it also takes is one video a week. Honestly, I think you can see results
Mm-hmm.
just doing one piece of content a week. And you're all complaining about, stories and reels and posting on Instagram every day. I'm telling you, YouTube, one video a week. You'll
Yeah.
see results.
You've inspired me to get back out
Okay.
there and go for it. Yeah,
My
because I'm
sales
that
pitch
person that's
landed.
complaining about. Oh yeah, I did. I'm the one that's complaining about I have to post on stories again and like post on Instagram a million times a day.
Mm.
And yeah, just one video a week. I gotta commit. I gotta do it. And I just had a baby. I don't know if you saw. So my baby's 6 months old now. So I'm busy and I don't have time to be on Instagram every single day. So
I just
yeah,
did
if
a
I could
story
post
on
a video, that'd be
Instagram today.
helpful.
It was my first one in like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I like Instagram, but I was on vacation and my YouTube videos
Yeah,
were
other
doing it for me.
things, you know. Yeah, exactly. I love that. So, and that's another reason I have the podcast, that evergreen content lives on forever, which is really great. And that's why I'm interested in YouTube because I do like the evergreen nature of it.
Mhm.
And I have a blog, but that was also another beast. And I feel like it's much easier to put out a video than it is for me to put out a blog every week, but that's just me.
Me too.
Yeah. Well, cool. So, one of the last questions I always ask my guests is, what is the most important lesson you've learned when it comes to entrepreneurship that you wish you had learned sooner?
Ooh. Um, do it messy. Like, stop waiting and just
Mm-hmm.
do it. I get into my head and just rip the band-aid off and do whatever you're wanting to do. Do it messy because you can always make it better. So yeah, just rip the band-aid off and do it.
Yeah, I love that. I know there's that quote. I'm not going to say it correctly, but they say, like, you'll be looking back, 5 years from now. The time's going to pass regardless. So, you might as well.
You got me on that one, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you want to go ahead and tell everyone where they can find you online?
Yeah, obviously YouTube, just trenalittle.com/YouTube. And I do hang out on Instagram. It's probably my second platform, just as, nurture my community, trenalittle.com/Instagram.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the First Hustle Then Brunch podcast. If you enjoyed this episode or learned something new, I'd love if you subscribed and left us a review. Another way to support the podcast is to take a screenshot of this episode and share it on your Instagram story. Tag me at First Hustle Then Brunch so I can repost it. Thank you so much for supporting the show, and I'll see you in the next episode.